Mr. Khaled, thank you so much for joining us on Q News. And first off, what strategic advantages does Israel gain from the operations in Syria, and how might this shape the future Middle East conflicts?
Well, thank you for having me. First of all, Salma, again, Israel moved very quickly immediately after the downfall of the Syrian president, and they expanded the area they've been occupying next to the Golan Heights, so-called buffer zone that was agreed between two sides after the 1973 war. And again, the Israeli statements, the official statements that originally came out said that they will likely be there until the end of the winter. And then the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he visited the newly occupied area in Jabal al-Sheikh, and he actually stated that they are going to stay there as a new arrangement has been reached. So this indicates that Israel is there to stay for a long time, basically controlling a very strategic location that overlooks the Syrian capital, Damascus, as well as the border along the between Syria and Lebanon. So, of course, this gives a very important strategic advantage to the Israeli side. And that's on the aspect of the aggression and the expansion of their occupation. And on the other side, they also carried out a massive bombing campaign over the past 2 weeks, nearly destroying the vast majority of the heavy weapons that belong to the Syrian army. So again, probably the Israelis now feel victorious that they managed to get rid of a regime that was backed by Iran, their arch enemy, and at the same time they managed to weaken Hezbollah and weaken Hamas. So strategically, this is going to have a major effect on how the future of the region is going to be seen, with the rising influence of Turkey and the retreat of the influence of Iran.
Reference to the point you just mentioned, where Benjamin Netanyahu ordered the Israeli troops to stay on Mount Hermon until the end of 2025, after he initially called it a temporary security measure. What are the primary objectives behind this, if you can delve more into this, and how do these goals align with its broader security interests?
Well, you see, the kind of most worrying aspect of the Israeli move is that they keep on expanding the deadline in which they're going to withdraw from the areas they newly occupied after the fall of the Syrian regime. As you know, already Israel has been occupying the Golan Heights, Syrian Golan Heights, since 1967. So probably there is no indication, not only that the Israeli occupation of Golan will end, but also that this expansion of the Israeli occupation is likely to stay for some time to come, especially after President-elect Trump gets into office just a month from today. Probably, as everybody knows, he was the one who actually recognized the Israeli annexation of the Syrian Golan Heights, and the members of his administration are very much well known to be very biased to the Israeli side. So there's not likely to be much pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu, in case he stays in office, to pull out from the newly occupied areas. And probably even if he agrees to the ceasefire in Gaza, he's going to demand more from the Trump administration in terms of expanding the Israeli control and hegemony over that region. So, of course, again, from a strategic point of view, the Israelis now, they feel to manage to achieve several major goals they wanted over the past years. Stopped with the weakening of Iran, getting rid of the Assad regime that was basically declared enemy for the Israeli government and the Israeli state. And right now, of course, there's going to be a long stage of instability in Syria, and the new kind of group that controls Syria now, and the new leader, Mr. Mohammed Golani, or Ahmad al-Shara, has declared that Syria has no intention to get into any wars with Israel or any other neighboring countries. So basically, that's giving Israel a break from the tense relationship they've had with the Syrian the regime, the previous Syrian regime, as well as the control of those strategic locations in Jabal al-Sheikh, which is known as Mount Hermon.
Now, integrating Russia into our conversation, how does Russia's characterization of Israel as the main beneficiary of Assad's potential fall influence the regional power dynamics?
Well, practically speaking, right now we're seeing new strategic players in the region. I mean, of course, now as much as the overthrow of the Syrian regime was a major blow to Iran, it was also a major blow to Russia that maintained very strong relations with Syria dating back to the former Soviet Union. So right now, I mean, Russia, there are many reports on intentions even to pull out from the two key military bases they had for many years in Syria, namely the ones overlooking the Mediterranean Sea in Tartus and Ahmimim. These are likely to be removed, except if a new arrangement is reached, but that's unlikely because, again, the United States, and we have the top the State Department official today in Damascus for the first time, is likely to call for the ouster of Russia from their historic bases that they controlled in Syria. So right now we're seeing new players that are in control of the Syrian scenario. On one hand, Turkey, because it was the country that hosted most of the groups that are now in control of Damascus, and Israel on another side. So we're in for some changes that are likely to unfold for the coming years. But again, the key concern is the ability of the new groups controlling Syria to be able to run the government and to be able to protect their country, rebuild their army, and basically reach a constitution that's satisfactory to all the Syrian groups and ethnic groups and sects. Those are major challenges that are likely to determine who are the parties, outside parties, that are going to continue to influence the situation inside Syria.
From Cairo, that was Khaled Dawoud, managing editor of Al Ahram Weekly. Thank you so much for your insights.